Hi and welcome to GRVO TV, G's Reviews, Views and Opinions. I'm just doing a preview of the newly released E-flite Blade 250 CFX Bind and Fly Basic with Safe Technology to give it its full and lengthy title, but we'll call it the 250 CFX. Now, this, to me, is quite an interesting heli, mostly because people have asked me to review the 230S, and it's not a heli that I've ever been interested in, and I haven't bothered. I was going to get one and review it, but because they brought out the 250, I think this really replaces the 230S. So rather than get the 230S and review that, I've ordered the 250 CFX, and I'll review that as soon as it comes in. But I just wanted to do this preview and teaser really to let you know that I am getting it and that I'm going to do a review on it. And it's a review from the point of view of what I call a weekend flyer. I'm a progressing flyer, so I'm learning to fly inverted. So for me, the things like the safe technology is of interest. That's never been of interest for me from a learning to fly helicopters point of view, because if you learn from the ground up, you don't need all that safe technology and all that. But when it comes to learning aerobatics, it's a whole different ballgame. And I think that's where they're moving this type of heli into the realms of people that are not necessarily new learners, but are people like me that can fly a heli around okay, and are now progressing into things like inverted and tail first flying and stuff like that. And that's where that safe button really comes in handy. Just for comparison and size, I've got here the 180 CFX and the 360 CFX, both resplendent in their monster canopies, which I think look absolutely fantastic. And these are both, for different reasons, fantastic helicopters. I know they do the 270 version, which had the safe button, but from what I gather, there's been a few issues with the fit and finish of the 270, not a popular heli. But the 360, I mean, I can't, it's got no safe button or anything like that on it, but it is a lovely, smooth flying heli. It's so powerful, it's ridiculous. Runs on a 6-cell pack, and it is essentially just slightly bigger than a 450 size heli. But that is a really, really nice helicopter. It flies like a much bigger, and it's sort of, it's difficult, but it feels light when you're flying it. It's sort of effortless. And then you've got the 180 CFX here. I mean, it is insanely manoeuvrable. You can set it up absolutely mental, or you can do what I've done and dumb it all down a bit and actually have it flying more like a much bigger heli, nice and smooth. Great little heli. I'm actually thinking of getting rid of the 180. It's not a heli I fly an awful lot, because it doesn't really fit into the way I fly, because I fly this and the 550 over the flying field. I fly my little WL Toys 977 and 931s over the park, and I also fly my MCPX brushlesses over the park and in the garden, and I do all my sort of learning inverted to fly on them, so I don't fly this one that much. And also it will help pay for the 250. So let's get into the 250 specs briefly. Well, actually, it's easier to say it's a bit of an amalgamation of the 300X stroke CFX, the 360 CFX, and the 230S. It's almost, they've pulled all those parts together, and hopefully all the best bits of all those helicopters, and put them into one and got a nice little helicopter. It's going to be, the size is going to be literally smack bang in between these two. So it's bigger than the 230S, but obviously smaller than the 300 and the 360 you've got here. A lot of the parts are going to be the same as the 230. So if you're upgrading from a 230, or you've already got a 300 and you've got lots of parts, there's going to be loads of parts that are interchangeable, which is good. The servos are the same servos that you've got in the 360, and they're awesome. digital metal geared high speed super duper servos. I mean, they're fantastic in that. So in a smaller heli, they're going to be well over engineered, which is great. It's the CFX, so it's the carbon fibre side frames, carbon fibre blades, which is really nice. I think the tail blades are still plastic, but I haven't got a problem with that. And interestingly, they've changed from, rather than go from like this is a torque tube, this is a belt drive, they've gone for the brushless motor on the back with the 3-bladed prop, which is interesting to me. And again, what it shows is the progression with these tail motors is just fantastic. I mean, I fly the MCPX and the WL Toys 931, both got brushless motors or motors on the tail, and they hold the tail rock solid. I've never had any problems with them at all. Rotation seems to be the same either way. They've really nailed it down. So to take away the complexity of a torque tube or a belt drive and the gearing and all the extra bits you need just to have a motor in the back, I think is actually a very good point and a much better way forward. And you know, if you do crash and have to repair things, it's a much lower a much lower parts count, because if you have to replace the boom, it's just the boom, not the torque tube and the bearings, etc. inside it. And if you do the tail in, you know, at worst case scenario, you burn out the tail motor, you replace it, a couple of wires, and you know, you're ready to go. So I think that's a great thing. I noticed there aren't any tail boom stabilisers on the 250 CFX, so it looks a bit basic, but I'm guessing that is going to be an optional extra that you'll be able to put on. If you're like me, you'll have a couple of these spare in the garage somewhere, and you'll be able to mock something up, or there'll be an aftermarket version anyway, and I think that'd be the first thing that I'd put on, because for me, it's not about supporting the tail or anything like that. It's purely about the look of it. I mean, if you look at this, I put the little fin on this one with the little chrome fitting, and to me, it just looks nice. It serves no real purpose, and what was there was fine, but I just prefer the look of that. And I would do the same with my 250 when I get it. So it comes fully assembled. It's got the safe technology built in, and the stability mode. So it's got the self-leveling and bank limit. So it'll only go so far on each mode, and then a little bit further, and it will also self-level. So from what I've found with helis that self-level is that if you're flying fast forward and you let go of everything, they level. They still keep going forward, but they'll just gradually slow down. So it's quite a nice feature. Not a feature that I would use, but I think for when you're learning, that's okay. The good thing is that you can use the panic recovery mode, the button, even in the full 3D sort of agility mode. That's the bit of interest to me. You know, at that last minute when my bailout hasn't worked, hit the button, and the idea is it should right itself. But we'll see, that's part of the test. Runs on a slightly bigger battery than the 230. It's a 1300-ish 3-cell battery, but it says it will also take a 4-cell LiPo. So those people that want to really give it some oomph and give it some welly and do all your TikToking and smacking 3D real hardcore stuff, I think they're going to be catered for as well with this, which is good. It carries the Spektrum AR636 DMSX receiver, which has AS3X all built in, the safe all built in, easy to set up on pretty much any Spektrum transmitter, which is great. Yeah, it's almost like a heli they've built out the parts bin. So now I'm wondering why I paid 250 quid for this thing. But anyway, I've got it on order. It'll be here soon. I've just noticed all the grass on my heli here, so my next job is to clean that. But for now, this is GRVO TV, G's Reviews, Views and Opinions. I'll see you soon when I get the 250 and watch this space for an unboxing and an initial review. Cheers, see you soon. Bye.